From Psalm 119. Your word, O Lord, forever stands firm in the heavens. Your truth lasts from age to age like the earth you created. By your decree, it endures to this day, for all things serve you. Had your law not been my delight, I would have died in my affliction. So I will never forget your precepts, for with them you give me life. Save me, for I am yours, since I seek your precepts. And then there's the verse from James's epistle. Always speak and act as persons destined for judgment under the law of freedom. For merciless is the judgment on the one who does not show mercy, but mercy triumphs over judgment. Mercy triumphs over judgment. Amen. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Ronnie Thwaites. Later on, I'll be joined by Pearnel, Charles. Thank you for joining us. We broadcast to all the world, but we particularly zoom our thinking to the diaspora, the Jamaican diaspora. Who are they? The people of Jamaican origin, of Jamaican affection, living all over the world. We start this early in the morning so that we can bridge, yes, that word again, the bridge the time differences and check people who live in other time zones for whom it's not early morning, but further ahead in the day. And of course, you can pick us up on the internet. We're happy always to be joined by you. The program is rebroadcast. It's televised as well as for radio. And we see this as an opportunity to help shape your day in relation to the country of your birth, to the hope of your future. There's so many people who have sacrificed so much to go away, to work hard to amass some amount of treasure and to sharpen their sensibilities about their origins, the place where their navel string is buried, the place where their parents perhaps are interred, and where their culture is prized. And so, with respect to all, here and abroad, we engage the early rise on the Bridge 99 FM. Well, there are lots of things happening. I'll give you the weather report a little bit later when I have it in hand. But there are lots of things happening in Jamaica. Some good, some not so positive. We take them as they come. We offer constructive criticism. We're not disgracing anybody. That's not our purpose. Our purpose is to use the powers of the mind, the elixir of fair comment, coming from Pearnel, myself, and you, then to offer suggestions how we can live better. The WhatsApp and text line is 876-551-5782, 876-551-5782, and the studio line is 876-676-4996. We mix the lyrics with the music because that's the metaphor of the Jamaican people, you know. We encapsulate into song and rhythm the truths of our concerns, of our preoccupations, of our joys and our sorrows. That's a gift that we have. Let's use it to the full. It's an unusual mix, but it's the particular gift of the Bridge, a new venture in communication all over Jamaica. Later on, I'm sure Pearnel Charles will join me in mourning the passing of the late Paul Robertson, former Minister of Government, a friend, and a person who, like we are trying to do on this program, was able to bridge the political divide. There's a nice tribute this morning from Bruce Golding. I'm sure later in the day on his program on this station, he will reflect on his relationship with Paul Robertson. But he's reported as saying that they knew each other from school days and they had many different projects and understandings together, despite the fact that they sat on opposite sides of the political divide. We want to bridge that divider, and to say, yes, there will be differences and there will be different inspirations. And not all differences are bad, but where differences become irreconcilable and hurt the people who are the main participants, and even more so, the people who those may have authority over, then that's bad. And that says so much about our country. And so we want to change that, That's what we want to bridge. It's absolutely essential if we're going to move forward. Otherwise, we will have a wonderful scrimmage and scramble among ourselves and get nowhere. And there are those, sadly, perhaps cynically, who think that that's the descriptor of our independent struggle. Well, we don't think so, but we certainly know that there is enough truth in that aphorism that we have to make a change now. We have to make a change now. Paul Robeson's life was an emblem of that. So let's go on that score. Let's thank him for his gift. I'm concerned about the international events that are playing out so deleteriously on the Jamaican scene. The price of oil that Jamaica depends on for its electricity generation, for the most part, the price of oil that we use to fuel our transportation system is going up. It's in the $90 now, and it has, I believe, brushed $100 US per barrel in the last few weeks. The crisis in Europe over Ukraine between the United States and the NATO powers and the Soviet Union, the Soviet Union no longer exists, it is said. All of these things have an impact on the price of oil and on the flow of energy. Yeah, so it's affecting us. Don't bother think because we far and we don't speak their language that it doesn't have any relevance to us. And I'm open to discussion, but I think Mr. Putin is playing the U.S. and the rest of the Western world. Hey, with regard to the U.S., Mr. Putin loved when Mr. Trump was there, because he understood Trump. The two of them are predator capitalists, yeah? And secondly, he understood Trump's eccentricities and his foolishness seriously. And he understood that you could have sanctions and whatnot, but there was a kind of, he read Trump good, yeah. And he understands the weaknesses of the United States system, because look what happened now. You have a foreign quarrel in Ukraine, and it is completely suffusing the American news media and consciousness. Mr. Biden has been unable to get any serious social legislation or internal assistance to redress some of the inequalities in America. His Build Back America bill, a piece of legislation, that is what a bill is stuck. Yeah, voting rights are compromised in the United States, the democratic system undermined, and he can't do anything about it, right? And he is busy now dealing with European affairs. And Shakespeare was a master, Shakespeare, I think it was in Henry IV, Part 2, says that what is happening is that you're busy, dizzy minds with foreign quarrels and keep the peace at home. Well, okay, but you're not keeping the peace at home. The discontent is rising, and the futility of a liberal progressive administration is being undermined by the fact that they're tied up abroad. It's happened before. I saw it during the time of the Vietnam War. Later on, it's had its effect in the Middle East. Engagement by the United States costs thousands of lives, and eventually what you do? Like Afghanistan, you pull out. Okay, so when you work out as policeman of the world, you become a pawn to other people's dynastic ambitions. This is not to say that NATO and the U.S. can simply leave Trump to roll over Ukraine, but it is to point out how the chessboard works and to understand how canny we have to be in terms of our own interests as a small, vulnerable nation living in the underarm of the Americas in respect of these matters. Yeah. Well, what would you do different, Ronnie Thwaites, on the early rise? What I would love to see, is massive investment in solar panels and in wind turbines all over Jamaica. We have some, so we know the way, and maybe some more are being planned. But I would love to see us trying to be more and more self-sufficient in energy, quicker than we had ever planned before. I believe you could mobilize the nation around this. I believe that if you matched that move for alternate renewable energy, one, the price would go down, and secondly, you would be in a position where you could save so much foreign exchange, and you could engage your people in a different view of their relationship with the rest of the world. If you match that with the reform of the transportation system, over time, you can't do it once off. That one, the horse gone, galloping down the road. Yeah? But if you were able to do that over time, where you had an efficient public transportation system, which caused us to be less reliant on foreign fuels, then what a difference it would make to our prosperity and also to our preservation of the environment and to our economic system generally and our private use of resources, So there you are. It would really make a big, big difference. So there are things we can do rather than just chups our teeth or think we're helpless because we're small, because we don't business in them thing. There are lots of things we can do. What do you think about that? Big investment in renewable energy and in the reform of our transportation system. I'm following the CNN tracker, and it says that Queen Elizabeth II tests positive for COVID-19. Queen Elizabeth is 95 years old, yes, and she's a gracious lady. She don't do us nothing, and so we are appreciative of her long service to her people and in some ways to our people. And so we're sorry. We hope she recovers very quickly. She's a very strong lady, but age will take its toll, yeah? 70 years as Queen of England, and you want us to talk it softly? Queen of Jamaica. So I don't really think Queen Elizabeth should be Queen of Jamaica anymore. And so while we have manners to her and are grateful to her, we're not going to cuss her. I think it is high time, Prime Minister say he's working on it. I've heard that story for so many years now that we're going to take steps to separate ourselves from the British monarchy as an independent nation should. We're not vexed. We don't hate anybody, but we just not. That's not our nature any longer. And the past does not recommend the continuance of that system of head of state, you see. And I notice comment in the press about her grandson, Prince William, and his wife coming to Jamaica shortly. Well, we are decent people, so we will be nice to them and hope they have a good time. But can we say something to you? We're really not going to treat them as if they are our rulers, or in a special, of course they're special, but no extra special attention. They're nice people, just as we treated Harry. Remember Harry when he came? Yeah, nice youth. And he came and enjoyed himself, and we enjoyed his presence, tourism. But this notion that the British royal family has some residual power over us is one thing we have to put aside, you see? All right? The power that we want in our society is the collective goodwill of all the people. Yeah, well, another major part that we're going to have to discuss on the early rise, because I understand it has taken social media by storm, and I quite understand why, is the report that people brought to my attention yesterday and insisted that we raise this morning, and I will have to expand on it and hear Pearnel's views. But this business where the wonderful attraction called Puerto Rico in Discovery Bay, and it is alleged that there was a day last week when Jamaicans, and of course, being who we are, black Jamaicans, we're told you can't go in there. Yeah, because tourists in there, and what the tourists look like. Tourists are white tourists. Yeah. Now, how'd that go? Now, Minister Bartlett, who's been trying very hard to get back the tourist trade, yeah, he is heard in a reply to say, listen, it's not that way, but the American health authorities just free up the cruise ships to move again. Yes, the CDC, Center for Disease Control, and therefore, when they come, the condition of being able to even dock in Jamaica is that the places they go to are part of what they call a bubble, yeah, where they are not open to the contagion of the COVID disease. And that is, we put ourselves in the problem because there are so few of us, only roughly a quarter of those eligible for the vaccine, take it. So if you not take it, what right do you have to go and monks up among those who are anxious not to be infected by closeness to you? Yeah? Well, there's logic there. But at the same time, when that logic plays itself out on a racial basis, yes, it doesn't work, because if you said, okay, Jamaicans, we have some tourist visitors here, and therefore we are anxious that we do not expose them to contagion, so only vaccinated people can come in. Yes, that would be a different matter. Nobody could quarrel with that, could you? Well, some people would, because they say, a man free and you can't restrict me. Well, I think you can restrict a person who willfully says, I am not going to be vaccinated, but I don't care about how I relate to you and what I could give you by way of disease, because I am free to come into this public place. I don't believe that. But where it seemed, as the original report stated, that Jamaicans, black people, were not to be in the place at all with the white tourists, it is open to the greatest misunderstanding, to the perception of something that we do not believe in Jamaica and will not countenance. Yeah? And when the minister was reported, I saw the social media post, when he spoke about it last night, he really didn't address that question, And that's a pity. That's a pity. It needs clarification. The principle that we are putting out on the early rise is that if you say, okay, these people come to Jamaica on the condition that they're going to be reasonably protected against contagion of COVID. Yeah? Their health authority in the United States is permitting this on that basis. And we take the steps to say, all right, we, as far as possible, are going to make sure that the people who you have to mix with here in the bubble, all right, are, as far as possible, protected themselves and protected against you, protected against infecting you by being vaccinated. That is reasonable. But if it is simply, you can't come in here because we are assuming that you are contagious, then, and particularly if that divides down on racial lines, you are courting trouble. You are defeating the very purpose that you bring in these restrictions, and also you are hurting the image of the country and denying some of the principles of openness and of racial equality that we stand for in Jamaica. Not everybody stand for that, but we stand for that as a people. Of course, there's a deeper thing that we have to look at. Because why is it that, as the Bill Johnson poll reported in the press tells us, that 3/4 of Jamaican people, yes, have a resistance to the vaccination? Okay? So if you are going to continue with that resistance, these instances like this are more likely to happen. So I beg you, I add my voice to all of those reasonable people who are saying, think again. We need to bring back the tourist trade. We need to protect visitors who come here. We need to maintain the easy concourse of Jamaicans and tourists, which is a hallmark, what Mr. Bartlett called it, the heartbeat of the world. You can't be the heartbeat of the world when you are excluding certain type of people from the hotel industry. Yeah, it don't work. That's contrary. So let's not have any slip up in that regard. Let the rule be at Puerto Rico, Dunn's River, wherever else them come. Come off the cruise ship. We will, as far as possible, see to it that the people you mix with here are people who are as well protected against COVID as science allows us to be. Okay? That is by being fully vaccinated. See, Prime Minister and his wife and his family go and get the booster. Yeah, that's good. They show an example. Okay? Pearnel, myself, all of us here have done that. Yes, we don't make joke on these matters. We want to be sure that we are protecting ourselves as well as possible. Under no illusions that if you have been vaccinated, thank you, if you have been vaccinated, you can't get COVID. Look at Mrs. Queen. She get all the vaccinations and she still tests positive. Okay, but it is very likely, and please God, that her experience with COVID will be milder, much milder, because of the antibodies which the vaccine has cultivated in her body. That's the story. Don't make any dumpy story to overtake you other than that. And so we're reaching out to our Jamaicans abroad and here. Yes, come we sensible on that one. And come we avoid some of the misunderstandings and the rough edges which this thing at Puerto Rico has thrown up over the weekend. In the papers this morning, just to again indicate another item of news before we break at 5:30, there are people in the headline of the Observer. Can you imagine? The Observer is usually the milder of the two Jamaican papers, Yeah, and we know why. The Observer headline this morning is Sweatshop. And it says that significant numbers of workers in the business processing outsourcing industry, BPO, that they are complaining because them say it's modern slavery. Hold on now, whoops. Them say if them come few minutes late, and draw from the pay. Them say if you're late from coming back from bathroom or lunch, and next money take out. Yeah, and the money week to start with. Them say them get roughly $60,000 a month, which is $15,000 a week. Yeah, $15,000 a week divided by 158 or really 160 now, which is the exchange rate. Is how much US dollars? It's about less than $100 US. Okay, so you can live on that. You can, and if you don't feel comfortable, then that no work. But now here's another side to it. Jamaican workers not that disciplined. Very often, whole of us take it as nothing to come work late. Yeah, and we come work late, and we think, nah, boss must just deal with that because my picnic is sick, or the bus did catch up in the traffic, or me and my boyfriend have an argument we finish before we come. All kind of excuse. Or no excuse. And that kind of slackness cannot work in an internationally accredited industry. And so we, as Jamaicans, have to learn that we have to do things differently. So I'm not against the discipline of that workplace, but where it is too rigorous, where it is inhumane, then we have a problem. I used to see it in what was the 807 garment factories years and years ago. Yeah. Where the conditions were very strict, and workers were rallying against it. And once the standards of decent labor, occupational safety were introduced, what happened to the companies that employ them? They just pick up, left the machine and the tread, only, and just go away, go to Haiti or go Honduras, where the workers, they are so hungry, they're not getting them to talk. So why we need to do things differently, you know. We're glad for the business processing outsourcing industry, yeah, but we don't want no modern slavery neither. So this is where I am so anxious for the trade unions to play a role. But of course, if you even breathe the name trade union in them place, yes, the flight quicker than Air Jamaica could have taken you. So we have a problem there. We'll come back to discussion on that. On the early rise, it's a bridge, 99 FM. Lord, give me strength to carry my heavy load. Good morning, Chief Charles.
Good morning, Reverend. How are you doing?
Well, thank you. Well, we need strength to carry our heavy load, eh?
Oh, and it's getting heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
I see that one country has put the rest of the world in a sizzle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody is on the tip of their chair,
Yeah.
ready to run off.
I mean, with the Ukraine and Russia and the US.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And of course, the way the United States is handling it, you know that no president lose an election during a war.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Okay. But, you know, I believe Mr. Putin, he is playing the United States. Putin is much happier when Trump is in power, you know.
Oh, yes, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And Trump and him have a vibes. And he has also found that the American system, in its freedom,
Yes.
which we admire, and
Easy to be exploited.
easy to be exploited. And
Easy.
look what has happened. So, the President Biden and his administration, Vice President Harris, are trying to improve the social ambience of American life with this Build Back America bill.
Yes.
And that crashed. And the preoccupation on internal affairs has now been, as you put it, completely shifted
Yes.
towards this European theater of war or near war.
And the United States, I would say, I've not seen it as badly split
Yeah.
politically
Yeah.
as it is today.
Well, this is it, you know.
And we have been around it for a while.
A long while. And this is causing a weakening of its moral standing. And it affects us, you know, because so much of our life and our culture has become more and more connected with the fate of the United States.
And so many of our people.
Yes, people we're talking to today.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Are there and must be nervous, like the students in Ukraine would be nervous.
Yes.
And we need to be nervous.
Yes.
If there's a war, it's not going to be between the United States
Yes.
and the Soviet Union and the Russia alone, you know.
Yes.
All of us are going to find many of the operative moves of our life stop, or cut back, or cut down, or removed.
Uh-huh. So the issue now is the immediate consequence, the immediate juk that we feel in Jamaica is the price of oil, you know. So.
Yeah, that's right. But yesterday I was speaking to myself, and I asked myself, who bear the consequence? The politicians.
Well,
they misspelling the Prime Minister name a different way to make it joke him.
what a way you sorry for politician, eh?
Yeah, but you know, and I must confess.
Yes, sir.
I must confess that I am sorry for them. You know why?
Why?
Some of these guys have left their profession like you.
Like you.
And come there to help and find yourself in what is not newsworthy.
So then, do something about it.
Ronnie, I've been talking to you all day yesterday.
Okay.
And what I'm talking to you about is the police.
Yes, sir.
Because this team of policemen that has joined the new force seem to be graduate from what you are pushing, because they have both the military and the police training. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I've heard of that.
Right? And remember that when that team came in, we were talking about the boys coming.
Yeah.
And
Project Hope.
Right. Project Hope train them in that way so that they can either go to the police
Right.
or go to the military. So, could we get more of that?
Well, that's exactly what we must get. Now we have to be understanding of the full picture, I think. First of all, the combination of military discipline and police tactics is a good combination,
Yes.
both for you personally and for your activity if you are a member of the security forces,
Yes.
provided that training, both elements of it,
Yes.
are completely suffused.
Well,
with
let me call a word that is not English. Combinable.
Combinable. Okay, no, we understand it. But the understanding of the freedoms of the subject under the Constitution
Yes.
must be clearly in the minds of those people.
Yes.
Chief Charles, this is my concern. I've been in and around public life for over 50 years,
Yes.
and I have seen the tremendous abuses of authority
Yes.
that have taken place at the hands of the police.
Yes.
I've also seen them behave in a very proper and constructive fashion.
Yes.
But I've seen murders by policemen. I've seen abuse. I've seen the wrongful use of power. I've seen corruption.
And somebody just asked me to ask you, you have seen police being abused
Yes.
and police being murdered similarly.
Yeah, but one that does. I don't
No,
want.
no, I'm
I don't want.
saying-
I have seen that, and I
Yeah.
don't want any of that.
Yeah.
Yes. So let us be clear. If the militarizing of the police force, which is supposed to be a peacekeeping force, does not include that deep understanding of what it is that order is all about in Jamaica.
Let's go back to the point you made. That the police is supposed to be a peacekeeping force.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That's the motto, to reassure, yes, to protect. Those are peacekeeping activities.
Yeah, but none of that is handed to the police now. What is handed to the police, right, are hundreds of thousands of gunmen and gangsters
No.
and robbers.
That's an exaggeration.
Hold on. People have bought, the people who call the police now. The police is the second, I told you, it's the second word they call. When you go in on them, and when you shoot them, and when you're chopping them up, the first thing they call is Jesus Christ, call the police. So the police is the second floor, right? Right? That piece that is, it looked like the pastors are more engaged in the peace than the police.
Well, it can't be so because the pastors don't have the power of arrest. The pastors don't carry.
But the power arrest should not be, can be peaceful.
No,
I mean,
no.
Look at
Certainly
what
can.
happened yesterday. You stop a vehicle. You dig out the two eye of the
Jesus.
woman.
Yeah,
You shoot her.
yeah.
You throw her in the bush.
Yeah.
And you are saying to me this morning that the person who did the digging out of the eye, drag out of the vehicle and fire the shots into her back, right?
Stab her
Take
up.
away her key, stab her up,
Slit her throat, you know.
you cut her throat.
Yes.
Ronnie, I can't go no further because
Yeah,
my
but
eyes will not allow me.
And listen, I share every bit of your outrage. Yes, what you're leading to is whether I am willing to compromise my anti-capital punishment position in a circumstance like that. And my reply is as follows: 1, exceptional cases make bad law. That's one. But secondly, let me tell you from my heart, if there was anybody deserving of capital punishment, it is the person who did just what you have reported.
All right.
If there was anybody, and if that kind of circumstance
Was the order of
were
the day.
only instance in which it were used,
Yes.
then God judge me, because I don't give life, and I don't think man has a right to take life, neither him nor me. But I would have no word for you.
I'm back in your corner then, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Because I know that there are some instances,
Yeah.
some sort of situations
Yeah.
where these people are involved, where I would never ever want to hear that they're going.
Yeah.
Well,
That-
the
that-
Gallus is no more. It's just an injection. No.
Well, not here.
I mean, you come.
Not
I
here.
mean, I
gallows
have
is an
never
awful
agreed
thing.
with putting a rope on a man neck,
Oh,
drop him in
Jesus.
a hole.
Yeah.
And not, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but we do that, you know.
We
did
used
that.
to do that.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we inherited.
I've seen it.
That was what we inherited.
Justified.
Isn't that what was inherited?
Yes, sir.
Handed to us by our
And
mother
it-
country.
And that we follow.
No, we don't follow it.
Well, thank God we're moving away, but they're still in the minds of most people, many people.
No.
I don't know if it's a
I
majority.
see you look at me, they say, it's still in the mind of you. and it's, Ronnie, when you remember that my tears
Yes.
fell for the 10-year-old girl
Yes. Oh,
up
yeah.
at Reading.
Oh, yes.
We had a similar situation.
Yeah.
Cut off her neck,
Yeah.
rape her, or whichever come first, and they throw her over a gully. And it was when the crows were flying around.
That they find her, that they knew what was happening.
And you have to say,
But-
I have to allow my tax money
Yeah.
to spend $1 million a year for that man to sit.
Yeah.
Whether he's sitting for a few years or for life,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, he shouldn't be sitting.
Okay.
He should be lying.
Well,
He should be feeding something else
yes.
somewhere.
I remember Mr. Leslie Ashtonham was a very prominent Jamaican.
Yes.
He said that he supported capital punishment if he were in that situation because a quick death would be far preferable to him than being confined for life. Can you imagine? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I understand from the way he sees it.
Well,
but
I don't
I'm
understand.
looking from the way of punishment.
No, look here. In the desperate cases on the margins,
Yes.
but that's not the sense of the Jamaicans, and unfortunately, it's not the sense of many in the police force. Unfortunately, there are
I know where you're going, Randy.
Oh, Lord,
You
sir.
said that should be now left to somebody who have been trained.
Of course,
And this
you,
judge
you cannot place the authority over life in the hands of a person who is ill-trained, who may be, as unfortunately, criminal or disturbed in mind.
No, but it's not him who do it. If the judge don't find you guilty, you don't go to the
No,
guy.
the judge. This is why. With proper laws, yes, deterrent but also rehabilitative. I trust the courts.
Yes.
I trust the courts and insist that is where the proper adjudication of the citizens' freedom, according to the Constitution, must lie, not in the hands of some policeman. Look at the other story in the papers yesterday, Chief Charles.
Yeah.
This is this young fellow who is a brilliant mathematician who is now helping so many students to upgrade.
Yes.
And he says that the only reason he's alive is because when the police bust into his auntie's house in Augustown, yes, one night, yeah, they pointed the gun at him and were going to shoot him. But they saw the certificate, the flashlight pointed to the certificate of achievement that was on the wall, and they thought better of him. Yes? To me, that is, we don't need to compare egregious circumstances. But that happens.
To you, the certificate should be always on the wall.
Well, not only that. No,
the system should be like a certificate on the wall.
Well, not only that, not that, but the person should never be in danger of their life because, like that, a policeman has no right to barge into my house and point a gun at me.
You have to also tell me why was the police called that make them barge into that home?
Brethren, yes, of course. But that call could never justify the taking of life.
Well,
and it nearly happened, this man says.
Well, I don't know.
No, listen.
I understand the point.
This is as real as anything else.
Yes.
And therefore, let's go back to first principles. It is the dignity and the value of life. Life is not some accidental human creation.
Hold on. Here, the police says, tell me to tell you.
Yeah.
What about this policeman who riding home on his motorbike?
Different. No comparison
and
at all.
two men came up.
No. Hold on, sir. One situation does not justify the other. They're both to be condemned. Whether I happen to be in uniform or I happen to be...
Yeah, but you are condemning the police more than you're condemning the criminal.
No, on the contrary. Gracious heavens.
Yeah.
On the contrary. I'm condemning crime. And
you are saying the police should not be involved in crime.
But how you mean? If they are, then what hope do we have?
Ronnie, before you close it, I'm gonna say something to you. My father was a police, a district constable.
Yes, noble.
And he was not only district constable, he was lawyer, everything, everything.
Yes.
Which is why I am in favor of the police going back to the district and increasing
I agree.
in the community
Sure, sir.
more of the police. Because guess what?
Yeah, them know.
I remember it's only when you make an arrest you get paid, you know. So if you arrest somebody, you get paid for it. So it's not costing you anything, but it gives him a standing in his community, and more people are comfortable because
And
Mr. Charles is a police right next door.
Sure.
You know.
And intelligence too. He knows what's going on, and he can pass it on.
Hold on. They had the confidence to come and tell him
sure.
when they wouldn't tell a Red Sea man.
Of course. Look at that.
You understand? And he's not the only one.
No.
There are several people in the community, when you give them certain authority, they are peace persons.
Sure.
People talk to them. They see them at church. They can run to them yard. They can whisper to them, and they feel. Some of them are even distant cousins.
During my time as a political representative, in one particular community that used to be volatile, you had a community relations officer, policeman, and that man was the crime incidence of crime just went down almost to zero, and people were nice enough to say, "Oh, it is you, the MP, moving among," and so on. I don't think it was me. It was that police officer who was just like your father, but in a different context. He was there. He got to know people. He got the confidence of the people,
and they got to know him.
And they got to know him.
And
He would come out and be able to counsel somebody. He would come to the MP, and he would say, "Listen, I see a situation developing. Try and find out of your SESP or your constituency development fund $20,000 and give me, yes, so I can ease that situation." Yes, and you had enough trust in him that you did something like that. Yes, but you know what happened to him? He got promoted to superintendent.
Yeah, because that's his system. Because he's so good.
Yeah.
They promote him and they put him at a higher level.
And things became very brittle afterwards.
Yes.
Now, there are all kinds of other factors in that story.
I mean, you wouldn't want to hold him back.
No, but at the same time, I saw what worked and what didn't work.
Yes. In other words, the system could have promoted him and he'd do
stay
more work.
Of course.
He would be more respected.
Yes, sir.
But Ronnie, I was cursing you off yesterday.
Lord have mercy.
Most of these new organization that has come up, none of them have come up with a philosophy of going into communities to talk and organize in the communities so that they can bring peace there.
Yes.
They are in luscious offices.
What do you mean? These are citizens organizations.
Some of the citizens organizations, right? They don't go out into the communities.
Yeah.
They don't.
Well, many of us in the political arena find ourselves there. It was because that so many that was the pattern, as you said.
Yes.
That I entered political life. It was one reason. Because I felt that I needed to be at the base.
Yes.
At the corner of East Queen Street.
But that's a good word. Let us encourage them. That newspaper and radio and television statements and this is not the only way. If you really want to help, go out into the communities where you have problems. Talk to the people.
Yeah.
Organize them in a friendly way and get them together, because you know what I have discovered?
What?
Many of the people in the community don't trust one another.
Of course.
Because they themselves, they are either politically separated, family separated, or blaming one another.
Yeah.
So you really are needed in the community to really help these people.
Sure.
But
then, sir, let me make a suggestion. Because we have thousands of churches.
Yes.
And I'm going to make a drastic statement now. what is the good of the church if it does not do what you're saying? What is it? Where if you follow Jesus, yes, or if you follow Allah, or if you follow the Buddha, yes, where would they find themselves if they walked this earth?
They
would not find themselves in
these communities,
dressed up in some sanctuary only, though that's wonderful. I do that often.
It's a one-day thing.
But where are you? Where are you in the life of the people? Where are you doing the healing? Because what you've just spoken of, that role,
yes.
that role your father had,
yes.
that role that I'm telling you, the policeman in Central Kingston,
yes,
that role that you are raising up for civil society,
yes.
that's healing, you know.
Yes.
That is as much healing as physical healing. That to achieve that in a troubled situation is as much a miracle as any Jesus performed, you know.
Well, Ronnie, let me say this. The people I am talking about, these various organizations that will spring up overnight and start to send news releases to the press.
There are very few of them, you know. There are very few of them.
What?
Unfortunately, we need more of them.
We need them in the community.
True, but
we need them to go into the community and rescue the people. They don't go in there to fight any gang, you know.
No, but
they go in there.
Yeah, but many of them find themselves in. I'm not excusing them, but what I'm saying to you is that many of those find themselves completely ill-equipped to do so. And when all is said and done, it's a politician, they claim, who carry the swing.
Yeah, but even if the politician carry the swing, because the politician has to go there to look the vote and go into every house.
But the politician is there's a Jamaican word called lamps. Lamps mean when you fool up yourself. Yes, Samphai. The politician is lampsing himself because he cannot make the difference.
Not all of us. Not all of us.
True. And therefore, we have to really think. When we come back from the break, sir, I want to ask you about that messy event at Puerto Rico Beach that has been reported. I'll tell you more about it. I want to say a word of condolence about our friend Paul Robertson, who has died.
Yes.
And also want to look at this whole issue of public sector reform, because we've put a whole heap more money in the budget coming up for that. But I'm wondering, what is it just a gift, a deserving, or does it make the public service more accountable, more efficient? Questions on the early rise with Pearnel Charles Sr. We soon come back. This is The Bridge. The early rise on The Bridge, the Honourable Pearnel Charles and myself, talking the affairs of the nation. Pearnel, we both mourn the passing of Paul Robertson, I'm sure. He was your friend?
Oh, yes. Paul was one of us.
Yeah.
He came in the same group, same graduating class, Trevor, Errol Anderson, Paul, Carlisle Dunkley, Clifton Stone.
Who saw a purpose in life as serving the nation.
Yeah, and did not leave for the big jobs.
Yes.
And it late in his life, after he retired or resigned, that he got a job.
Yes.
Right? So he was battered and bruised like some of us.
Yes.
Some of us weren't really bruised, We battered, but we just take the lick and go somewhere else with it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, some of us have not been honest. And it casts a bad
Paul
picture
over everybody.
And it's the minority.
Yeah.
That has caused
but Paul Robertson was congenial, and he was measured. I don't think of him as being a confrontational figure. And while he could hold a point strongly, he wasn't antagonistic. He wasn't acerbic.
Well, you would know him because you work with him internally.
Yes.
I only know him as two trade unionists.
Yes. There's a very fine tribute, two very fine tributes this morning to him in the press. One by Bruce Golding and the other by Peter Phillips.
Yes.
And they both speak of his ability to and his record of going to the very hub of national concerns to do with electoral integrity, to do with a tradition of public service, which is important for us to note, not only in regard.
He was in the electoral commission.
And Bruce says that he and Paul met often and were first members of the Electoral Advisory Commission and were, in fact, shared the architecture of that important institution.
Yes.
Now that's worthy of note, you know.
Yes, yes.
Very
yes.
worthy of note.
Because that's one of the light that has continued to shine
Certainly.
on our hills,
Yes.
that the world can look at.
Indeed.
Our electoral system,
Yes.
our election day, and how we can change government
Sure.
without
Peacefully.
trying to overthrow
Yes.
after election.
Yes. So these are these we do mourn him, and but recognize how the fickleness of service and of reputation, because so easily do we forget some of those who really sacrificed, you know, and continue to do so. And that is the spirit that we want to inculcate, that we want to encourage. In terms of political engagement, in terms of life generally.
Yeah.
I have to ask you though, I'm disappointed this morning. The headline of the Observer newspaper is Sweatshop.
What is it? I saw it.
Sweatshop. It's about the business processes of the BPO industry.
Yeah.
Now the BPO industry is important
Yes.
because it has created the opportunity to work.
And
So-
a number of people.
Yes, for thousands of people.
Yes.
And it is touted as having further horizons. And yet there is, it's more than just this headline and the story that is there, because I've been hearing for a while that the conditions in many of these factories, these offices, are very difficult for workers. Now, what this story tells this morning, exemplifying that, is the story about if you're a few minutes late, your pay get docked. If you come back from lunch late, everything is according to productivity. You can, you know, when you get sick, there's no sick leave.
No. That can't be, because sick leave is a law. It's a law.
You get, well, it's what they say.
No.
I don't know. No, but Mr. Charles,
I
when
got- no.
you're on a contract basis, sir, when you're on the job contract,
Yes.
all them nice law don't apply, you know, sir.
No, Ronnie, don't blame us.
I'm not blaming you.
The reason why the law is placed there is because it was happening, or it could happen.
Yes, sir.
And so the law is there to guide you.
Yes, sir. But what is missing in this whole equation
Yes.
is not the law. I'm conceding that, and I commend you for your part in all of that.
Yeah.
But what is missing there is representation. What is missing there is the trade unions. And this is why, once again, I return to the theme that you and I have often discussed, that one of the greatest hampers, breaks, obstacles to the real development in this country for human upliftment is the comatose state of the trade unions.
Could I stop you here to tell you?
Yes, sir.
Don't blame the trade unions.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Hold on. I start off with that so you can put your mind there.
Okay.
Blame those who are to be organized. Let's take the security. I tried
Uh-huh.
to, along with, I forgot who the person in the NW now, to organize the security. Security, one of the largest employment in the country.
Sure.
Whenever you try, somebody go and whisper to the boss, and them just fire 10,
Sure.
right? So they don't want any union.
Why?
So, well, but the capitalist mind says that you're going to have to pay.
I see.
You're
But
going to have to pay more
Right, sir.
than you're supposed to, right?
No, but
Whereas the right man say, I am not opening my company without a union,
yeah.
because I want you to recognize that I have certain things to live up to. You have certain things to live up to. If you don't live up to your thing, you have to go. And if I don't live up to my thing, you won't stay,
Yeah.
or I have to go.
So hold on now.
So I'm not. No, let me finish the point
Please
about
do.
the trade union.
Yeah.
I am not sure whether what is called trade union can't be there. It's a workers' organization.
But the work
They can organize themselves.
very difficult. If they can do that, them are the first one to go. And the power of the state must defend the worker. The power of the state must defend the worker as much as it defends capital
Yeah, but hold on now. Give me an idea, since I will always be a trade union. I've been there for 40 odd years. So how the power of the state is going to go where you have 100 workers who you're trying to organize them and they walk past you. They're not interested.
They walk past you not because they don't need organization or they don't want it.
Yes,
they walk past you because they know that if they stop at your by you, they're going to get a pink slip at the end of the week.
Ronnie, we,
Not
both
true?
the NW and the BIT,
Not true?
used to set areas for the security guards to come. And by the time 100 is there, by Monday, somebody is in there, go back to the boss and either promote or put through or out.
So, sir.
There's no law.
So, sir, in the interest of the majority,
yes,
Labour is a majority. Labour must lead development as much as capital. What we have done is to overturn the righteous order of things, and we allow capital to determine everything. Yes? What we do,
I don't agree with that.
And government supports it because government is dependent financially for its electoral money on many of those people.
You see, that is a problem that I'm bothered that I queried yesterday by myself. You and others find that there are 2 persons in the country, or 3 people, who must bear the blame: the politician, the police, and the employer.
No.
No. I am telling you.
Yeah, but that's not my view.
Listen, I am telling you, right? You sit down and examine what is happening.
Yeah.
Every little organization that come up is Andrew Horn is independent, the Prime Minister.
Look at him,
and every little thing that happens is the police.
No. I don't. Well, that's not certainly my view at all. And
I know you're going to say no.
I don't do that.
The employer is preventing thousands of people from getting together.
But of course.
Why?
Because they would fire them right away.
No, Ronnie. At no stage in the trade union.
Who are you blaming? The worker?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, good God.
Let me tell you why.
What can he do?
Well, let me tell you what they can do.
The 60% of the people in this country who are working and getting minimum wage or slightly above only. Yes, they are responsible for their own misfortune.
No.
Coming from from the dean of trade unionism in Jamaica. What a thought!
Let me answer that. The facts are that for domestic, they are not organized because they are not in a group, right? They are one.
What is the principle?
Hold on. The principle is to get a group of workers decide that they need you to speak for them.
Well,
hold on, and they are not deciding that way. In the security I'm talking to you about, as 100 came
so
get together,
their corner is dark.
10 out of that get back to the boss. And tell them, say, Ronnie Thwaites carry them, and Ronnie get him white slip and go
hold on now.
before he's organized.
Right, so their corner is dark then. So we end up with the perversion this morning. We're in the press. I think it's the front page of the Gleaner.
Yeah.
Listen up, diaspora. Listen to the bridge. Listen to the early rise.
Yes.
On the front page of the Gleaner. It is the employers who are now saying that the minimum wage should go up by 30%. The workers still remain supine, unable to do anything. The unions don't say what they think it should be.
Hold on.
Employers.
My
God.
No, but you don't understand.
Woy.
No, because you don't understand. So let me explain
What
to you.
What the DJ say? Where's Audley?
Don't go away yet. The unions are not telling you what minimum wage should be. The unions negotiate wages for the workers.
When them do that?
Every worker.
The minimum wage don't change since what? 2018. 4 years ago.
No, but the minimum, the workers in the minimum wage are not members of the trade union.
Oh, but I'm talking about...
That is why the government has to work for them.
I am talking about... Exactly. I am talking about the interest of the majority of the people. Isn't that the first principle of democracy? And if these people cannot be unionized because of all the perils that Mr. Charles remembers and speaks of from his own experience so eloquently, yes, surely it is the responsibility of the state. Surely it is the responsibility of the state to set down certain parameters. I moved motions in Parliament about reforming this ubiquitous contract thing. Yes. Never discussed. I heard over the weekend, perhaps one of the most cogent trade unionists left, Vincent Morrison, arguing it again. Yes, but it's going nowhere because the government, the state, is in the thrall of capital.
No, the state find it easier to make people get work at a reasonable rate than the unions would say the rate's small. So you either you don't take the money or you go home. No, it don't work that way. Don't work that way. So how should it work? In fact, I believe in 2 minimum wage. You cannot have the minimum wage for domestic workers the same as the minimum wage for hotel workers or for people in a different. Because some of the domestic people could not pay a real wage because it is domestic employing domestic. In other words, when somebody leaves and come out, you understand?
Yeah, what a terrible situation, eh?
But Ronnie, if I am home,
but you see,
and I am going to work as a domestic worker, somebody ever said me picking them.
I have got you. I face that with
so they get a cousin or auntie or somebody who will take half of them pay.
Exactly so. But given that situation, yes, where are we going to come out of that? Or what are we saying to the majority of the people who you and I used to represent and still have at heart? What we are saying to them is, look now, we really can't do no better, you know. And therefore you must just suck up the little 7,200. Or if the employer says you forget 30% more, where that going to put you? Put you about add 30% to 7,200 for me quickly. Yes, Lafayette, do the calculation and tell me what it is, and then tell me why my people can only go to school 2 days a week, or whether when the man come home at evening time, I have to tell him, look, it's a little porridge you get because there's no money for buy anything. Where you bring the money for? And then you build in the family instability, despite the 40 hours of labor and more. 9,100. Where that can buy?
Ronnie,
where that can buy?
Ronnie,
food prices gone up by 28%.
Give me an idea.
Hell no.
Look at me and tell me now. Yes. What do you think a minimum wage should be right now?
A minimum wage, like you, yes. I think that the notion of a minimum wage is misunderstood. Yes. I am in favor of a livable wage.
You can't. Who going to pay a livable wage to? No. A civil servant.
Genesis is right then. The book of Genesis is right. Yeah. Some people are the children of Ham. Yes, they are. They are. They can't.
You know,
can't move.
When you say Ham, if I tell you what country, you have to come off the ear.
No, seriously. It is.
No, but tell me now. Who can pay minimum wage?
Who can pay?
Yes.
Listen
the
to
minimum wage that you are talking about.
Livable
so that
wage.
people at a livable minimum wage. Who can pay that?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If the society for labor cannot pay a livable wage, why work?
Why work?
Yes. Because why behave yourself? Why avoid the scamming? Why avoid crime?
But you asked me a question, so let me tell you.
Yes,
let me tell you who are paying minimum wage now.
No. Tell me why work, if that's what you get.
All right. Because to get a minimum wage,
right, so it's better.
It's better than go on this street corner or stealing. Hold on, relax. Uh-huh. Many of the people who are paying minimum wage,
yes, sir,
to a helper to stay with the children while they're gone to work with you and I.
You made the point.
They don't get, when it is finished, they only get half.
Yeah, but I don't accept that.
So why don't you ask the helper when they come?
No.
Who's taking care of your picnic?
That is why I support Mr. Biden and his universal pre-K. I support that. I support this.
Yeah, but Mr. Biden have a financial base in which to make that statement. What financial base do we have?
We have a great financial base. What the trouble is, it is utterly skewed. Money not short in Jamaica, Mr. Charles. Money not short in Jamaica, Mr. Charles. Look at what is happening all around us. What we are doing is exporting the proceeds of our labor.
Hold on.
True.
Hold on. Let's go back to money not short.
And we are concentrating it in the hands of a few, now melanized.
Hold on.
I'm not saying that everything is right and there's extraordinary wealth that can do everything.
Why are you answering the question before I ask you? Is the money don't short in Jamaica?
No short.
Who have money?
But people who we allow by the construct of our political economy to aggregate money. I have no red eye for them. All I'm saying is
how are you going to get it from if you know red eye
oh
for
my
them?
goodness, that's exactly what the state is for. The state must make proper provisions that people, by their labor, listen now, not by their laziness, the BPO workers who are claiming sweatshop, not because them have a soon come attitude. And with this boy tell me we must come here at 8 o'clock in the morning. Yes? None of that. We require standards of productivity, but in return for those standards of productivity, we must offer a livable wage.
All right. So let us take that one point a little further. You're not saying that the standard of discipline that the employer puts in the BPO should be removed. You're not saying that?
I'm saying that it should be humane. If you tell a woman, yes, that she can only go to the bathroom once a day, in an 8-hour day.
There is no such statement anywhere in Jamaica that could make me stay in retirement.
Yeah,
No.
Mr. Charles, I hope that you're right. But
morally you have to be
remember
right.
I was counsel to the Dan Kelly Commission of Inquiry in the early 80s with the 807.
Yes.
And I want to tell you that was the situation in many of the sweatshops on the port.
That is 40 years ago.
Yes, sir. So I hope it's not
You can't tell
there.
me no that you could go down to a BPO and tell the worker that you can only go to the bathroom once a week, once a day.
An extreme situation maybe,
Yeah.
but what I stand for.
Hold on. Somebody just tell me, but there are some people who want to go bathroom every hour.
Yes.
And they go bathroom to smoke.
Yes.
Talk upon
So
them phone.
I don't defend that.
So why?
Why do you think they do that? Just because they're bad-minded and feckless, or they're sinners?
Ronnie,
they're unbaptized?
Some of us some of us are indisciplined.
Right, and that is where, sir, to go back to the earlier discussion, yes? That is where we at our peril continue to raise our children in indisciplined ways. We do not concentrate on early childhood education where people's habits of discipline are formed. We allow our communities to rot within discipline and consider it to be man-free or woman-free. Yes, in our personal, most intimate relations, we are indisciplined. The Islamic world is not like that, you know. And very often, the antidote of the Project Hope, where people get discipline, yes, is that which we need, but we hesitate to give. So I'm not in. Look here. Sequence the argument to the public sector thing. The government has put what? Whole heap of millions of dollars. Is it nearly $1 billion for public sector reform this year?
Yes.
Yeah?
What is the reformation that you're talking about?
I'm asking the question. Yes, and that will lead to the answer to yours. There's no doubt that within the public sector, wage increases are necessary. Well, when we the taxpayers put in that extra money, what do we get from it?
Right, let us.
Where is the accountability?
Let us accept that there's a minority in all of this. It's not the majority you're talking about.
Okay.
It's not the majority of our civil servants are going to races one day, come late, go home early, stay upon them phone all day. You know, it's not the majority.
Oh.
There are some dedicated civil servants, and there are some dedicated politicians.
Absolutely.
There are some undedicated pastors.
Yes, sir.
And there are some undedicated politicians.
So how we bring it together?
Well, that is why you're a reverend.
listen to this gentleman. No. Push it back for me.
But it is easier. It is easier for you to wear the Lord around you cross and going to a yard than me.
I wish I could. Indeed. But if it is so.
No, but Sake does say something, because I know people are listening to us on this matter. I'm concerned about this BPO thing because it is a heavy employer and thousands of our people are getting work there.
Right.
I am not sure who set the wage or who talk about it in terms of productivity. You understand? And my production, what am I getting for it? What are you getting for it? What percentage do I get?
Why do the BPO come here? Come here for one reason,
Right.
okay?
Right.
Because of cheap labor.
But Ronnie,
No, okay.
what is wrong with that?
No, hi.
It is we must determine that.
No, hi, sir. If we have, it's not we who are determining it. No,
Yes.
it is they who are saying take it or leave it. And what I'm saying is we have to do two things.
Yes.
Here's a negotiation for the trade unionists. What a presumption I have to tell you what as a trade unionist. We have to make sure one, okay, that we are giving the highest standard of productivity. And two, side by side with that, connected, Siamese twins, we're getting at least a livable wage.
But Ronnie, you don't have to go any further, because what the employer wants is productivity. What we want,
He wants it at the lowest cost.
he wants the productivity at the lowest
At
cost.
the lowest cost.
Nothing is wrong with that.
Yes. So how
we-
does it,
we-
what
we
is
are
the
giving-
what
we-
is the bargaining power of the
We
worker
are
without a
giving-
trade union?
We are giving productivity
Yeah.
at a livable cost.
No.
Well, that's what we want to do.
Yes, sir, but
that's what
that
we-
is what the workers are saying is missing, and it is missing, I claim, because I believe in syndicalism. I believe that the power of the community is what needs to be brought to achieve equity and justice in this situation. And we have boxed ourselves find ourselves in a situation now where we have the worker has no bargaining power.
Well, hold on, Ronnie. If Bustamante here, you said that,
Yeah.
he would wake up in his grave,
Yes, he would.
and say that was what he got rid of.
That is exactly it.
So-
We have to go backwards to go forwards.
So
It was because support workers had no power that Bustamante organized them and led them to his credit.
don't leave all coombs and
No.
those guys, yeah?
Extrapolate that into the situation now.
Yes. No. So I'm trying to tell you, you have hundreds or maybe thousands of BPO workers. And they know, I don't know who they come under, whether it's the Ministry of Labor, but somebody have to look at what wage they're getting in terms of productivity and pay for that
No, but
production.
it can only be the Ministry of Labor, sir.
Of
That-
course.
That should be as we pause for a break. That should be the prime consideration of the government of Jamaica. Who else do those workers have to rely upon?
but
A
the
government which at the present time has an administration that frames its name and its nature. Yes, don't bother telling me anything about Shower. Tell me about the Jamaica Labour Party.
Yes, but let me tell you something.
Shower is a
that
disgrace.
The Ministry of Labor
Yeah.
is also labor. Labor,
Show
examination of labor.
Show me,
Examination
show me
of
your
what-
motion.
what should be paid
Show
to-
me your motion, Chief Charles. This is Early Rise on the Bridge 99 FM. We take a break. Soon come back. Sizzla Kalonji. Yes, just one of those days. The music to back up the lyrics on justice and labor and capital, structure of Jamaica, the way we're going to move forward, the search for progress and prosperity, both material and spiritual.
Ronnie,
Yeah.
the employer in Jamaica has right. The employee has right.
Yeah, but don't put them as equal.
I don't know that. Do you think they're equal?
No, sir.
You think they should be equal?
Yes?
No, Ronnie.
No, actually, I don't.
Nowhere in the world
Okay.
you're
So-
going to find the capital and labor equal.
So-
because if the capital is not there,
Is it
the
worth?
labor will not going to be
Is it
there.
worth the struggle?
Yes, it's worth the struggle.
Oh, to do what? To what end? If the outcome
To
itself,
say to the capital.
if the outcome set. That's what people feel, A whole heap of workers in Jamaica, a whole heap of working class people.
Yeah.
And there's a deeper question that we will look at. Why are they that? What is the deficiency in education and upbringing, etc., which places them in this position of utter vulnerability? Yes, but if that a whole lot of people listening to us will say that reason, me no business, I can't get through.
Ronnie.
I can't get through, Mr. Charles. I go in the BPO and I work up my soul case. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to go there on time. But sometimes, as the woman said in the paper this morning, is the company transportation come late. And yet when I reach late, when because them pick me up late or traffic hold them up, I get the money take out of my pay. Yes, and therefore, when my boyfriend come home and him have a little shirt with a little blood on it, but him bring something when we need, him bring food for the picnic or him bring this or that. Me not notice it too much because that you have to do to get through.
Yeah, you see, you went to Central Kingston and learn all of that. But let me just say this to you. Every worker has a right to go to the Ministry of Labour. The Ministry of Labour have a department for that sort of situation. If you feel that you're not being treated correctly, there's an area there that you can go and the employer will be brought in. They must come and they must be discussed.
You know that don't work.
No, hold on. Don't say it don't work. Don't say it don't work. It worked when I wasn't Minister of Labour, and it worked when I was Minister of Labour.
You think.
No, but let me finish the point that I'm trying to get to you. Yes, if the workers feel that their pay is too low in terms of their contribution to the development of the company, the Ministry of Labour still can intervene without a trade union, because that's what the Ministry of Labour department does. A worker can go there and complain, and the management will be brought in. They must come and they must discuss. So the laws are there.
So everything is okay?
No. Everything will never be okay in the church, much less in politics.
But I'm surprised that you would suggest that a worker's complaint can affect the texture, the structure of an entire industry. It doesn't work that way.
You better believe it. Trust me.
Well,
same like when Coombs sent for Bustamante, when he had a little strike in Westmoreland.
70
and
years
Bustamante,
ago.
yes, but Bustamante went there. And they got an increase.
Where are the Bustamantes of the Jamaican labor movement now?
Yeah, don't embarrass me.
I have to embarrass you.
What do you mean embarrass me?
Because you are.
We have done.
No, but you're finished.
Hugh Shearers and the Michael Manleys
and you're to be credited for setting up a system, but which my view is that in recent times the system has been totally undermined.
I would not say totally undermined. I would say that development has not gone further than we brought in the minimum wage, Ronnie.
Indeed, and to your
hold
credit.
Hold on.
To your credit. But you can't. But what's the point of a minimum wage that is totally inadequate?
Ronnie, there is no way you are going to get a wage by government. The minimum wage does not mean that is what you have to pay,
Oh, come on, sir. But
the minimum wage means the minimum. Hold on, let me listen to me. The minimum you can pay is what is there.
Yes, sir.
It does not prevent you from negotiating above that.
First of all, you know that doesn't work.
It does. Yes, it works someplace.
It doesn't. And in any event,
no. There are a lot of people who don't pay minimum wage.
If it is ridiculously low, as it is now, the fact is that that it does not serve the purpose for which you and others negotiated. No, but there's a deeper question.
But that's whole deeper question.
All right.
If there were no minimum wage, you think they'll be getting that?
No.
They wouldn't be getting that for that.
I'm in favor. I'm not. I am outraged and sorry that is a gentleman named Mr. Nita of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce is saying that we should not have a minimum wage. It should be a matter of just the market forces in any particular industry and case. What a distressing thought. What century is this man living in?
Yeah, but what you say, he says.
He says that we shouldn't look to any national minimum wage.
Yeah.
We should allow every worker to bargain.
Oh, so if you allow that, the worker could bargain way above minimum wage.
But it can't.
Why not?
Then
you wouldn't get your work done if you don't negotiate.
So you agree that market forces should dominate this end? You're
But
turning your
market-
back on your own creation?
No. But market force is what we use to negotiate.
No, market
We,
force.
no. We look at what you get.
You
And
applied to the BPO sector now. Yeah, you wouldn't even get a one negotiation. What you would get is what you have. Take it or leave it.
Ronnie, you have to.
There are plenty more outside like you.
You have to make your mind that up.
Oh,
You have to make that
you
up.
have to make a choice for poverty.
We brought the minimum. We brought the BPO here.
So I want to ask you a deeper question.
Hold on a minute.
Why we have so much woman?
Yeah, man, just call us Ronnie. We can talk. We brought the minimum wage. We brought the BPO here, and I'm sure they must have discussed what type of wage they're going to pay, and it has
Discuss
to.
with who?
It has to be with the government.
And the government, Lord, they're making it worse now. The government agree. The government agree to what these people are complaining of. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think that we welcome them with open arms, and some might say with open legs.
Could I ask you to let us discuss this one later in the week?
Okay.
I want to find out what is the national wage in the BPO. What do they pay?
Right, $60,000 a month.
$60,000 a month.
Yeah, that's what the paper says.
$60,000 a month.
That may not be the average, but that's the instance that is given here, which hasn't been complained. 60,000. Okay, 15,000 a week.
And workers are fighting for that.
They are saying no. They're
How many hours a day?
I don't know the details, but
Let's get the details
sure.
because it's
Okay, that's fine. No,
it's a big enough industry for us not to try to destroy.
no, I don't want to destroy it, but I want it to be fair.
Yes.
Yes, I want it to be fair. I remember, sir, when slavery was to be when slavery was to be abolished,
Yes.
the number of black people, slaves themselves, or recently freed persons, who were pulled together to write to the British government and to say, please understand that slavery is not what you think it is, and slavery is that institution which keeps us black people in Jamaica and in the Caribbean, in the British Empire, fed, and that we have slave hospitals and we have all of these other amenities, and we know the planters can't do better.
So what do you think the referendum today in 2022?
Yeah.
What do you think? Why we have to have a referendum and man say, boy, if Britain was here, we would be better off.
Yes, sir. Because
today,
sure, sir.
not the long
sure,
time.
Sir. And we
And the reason for that
we
is
stand
that
against that.
they are dissatisfied with what we are giving them.
And because we're not, in my view, we're not defending them with the singularity of purpose that was evident at the time of our nationalist movement, of which you and I are the inheritors, or the early inheritors. The deeper question I want to raise with you is the issue of why people find themselves in a position that they have to accept these kinds of liberty-taking employment.
They don't find themselves in a position. This position, well,
if I'm educated, sir.
They couldn't prevent themselves from being in there.
Hear me now.
When the amount of people available now, the amount of people in the BPO right now,
Yeah.
if they close tomorrow morning, where do they go?
No, I'm not suggesting that that we must close. On the contrary,
No,
I want to
if
see.
they say they're making 40,
You know what I want to see?
They take 10 and give you 30.
What I want to see is a situation where our people are so educated that they have choices.
Yeah, but choice. Why not the BPO? Don't the BPO is a commercial factor?
Hello, sir. If I have my 5 subjects or the equivalent coming out of school, and if I have the opportunity to do other things, then if I choose to get into an industry like this, mass production, yes, I'm in a much better bargaining position than if I am, in fact, if it is my only opportunity for a job, isn't it?
Well,
and therefore,
you probably wouldn't go into that industry.
No, but therefore, what I am anxious for is for people to be in a position where they are stronger in their choices, and I want also a government that defends the majority rather than the minority, balancing the interests of capital with that of labor, which I do not think is evident when people are subject to conditions of work which they think is dehumanizing, and where, notice I haven't taken a breath, and where the arc of productivity nationally is going down every year since independence rather than up.
All right. I know you're hot this morning, but let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do we need the BPOs?
Yes.
The production that they carry out,
Yeah.
there's a cost to it.
Yes.
They get paid for it too.
Yeah.
So the government must have discover what are they going to be paid and what are they paying.
Government, I doubt that.
No. You could not have a man just walk into your place and then go and hire people without some arrangement being made. And if there's no arrangement,
the arrangement is what they choose to pay.
Let me tell the workers what they can do.
Go to the Ministry of Labour.
Of course.
Oh, yes.
Because the Ministry of Labour have the departments to deal with this
Pearnel,
matter.
I'm really surprised.
So where do you think they should go?
They are in a hard place. What I would like to do is for the government to say that the standard, the Charter of Rights that we have enshrined, that our Constitution, yes, provides freedom of association, and that therefore, following the example of people like Mr. Pearnel Charles, Sir Alexander Bustamante, Right Excellent Norman Manley, all of the others, yes?
They must organize themselves.
If you are coming to invest in Jamaica, we welcome you. We offer you every tax break that we can possibly do. But in respect of your employment, we have two principles. One, yes, that workers are engaged, are allowed to freedom of association to organize themselves, yes, without threat of dismissal for that reason. And two, that in return, you expect to get the highest level of productivity from them. And that we will train them to this end. That's the principle, and that's quite possible.
I want you to stop right there, because you have read the last point from me.
Excellent.
Hold on.
I accept that.
Productivity and payment has to be the target.
Are we doing that with the reform of the public service right now? I ask you the question. We have put.
I don't know that.
I asked the minister.
I could ask you the same question.
Right, and my answer is no. What we're going to do is to give people a wage increase, which they need because of all of the reasons we know. But we are not saying to them that you have to perform any better. And therefore, frankly...
But you're saying it every morning.
Well, but look at this. I'm faced with a situation now in another occupation that I have.
Yeah.
Yes? Time running out on us. That when you want to pay government money, contribute to the coffers, yes, you get such a runaround. Look at the situation that we're faced with the local authorities now, where you if you don't have a points in there, a person who can help you through, or can give you what you need. Yes. You now get through. You hold up. Yes? At the highest level, where we are faced with the indignity of the Americans saying to their Congress, their agencies saying to the Congress, Jamaica has laws against corruption. But at the same time, the practice of corruption, even at the highest level of government.
What do they mean by that?
What do they mean by that? That we thief at the highest level of government.
No. But that could be said of America too.
Hello, sir.
It could be said of anywhere.
Of course, sir. Maybe so. But for them life, for them bread butter.
Yeah, but hold on.
You know, shame when people when them can say that. And we do. And we locally don't even say it's a lie.
The man what told me last week said, "Well, Mr. Thwaites, they buy you this morning, not bad." Listen, let me just tell you something. Let's deal with our situation here. We have thousands of people who have gotten jobs in this new industry.
Yeah.
This new industry, I have not had a chance to look. What is the job? What do they get for it? What do they give the workers? Hold a minute. Maybe it needs to be looked into.
Why?
And maybe it needs for some discussion to take place.
How could any industry of this size not have been looked into, not be looked into?
I don't know if that has not been
Hello,
looked
so
into.
the thing set just like the security industry that you talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah? Just that.
But the workers have to do it.
Yes, sir.
No politician can come dictate that.
Well, I would
the workers have to get together.
If me,
Listen, I had a problem with them running.
If me in my little job, you see,
Yes.
where boy, my whole domestic life, my whole economy, broke out. That way, if I lose my little work. And if you tell me, Mr. Politician, Thwaites, Charles, Holness, Golding, anybody, that you can't do nothing for me, is me must do it for myself.
No.
What am I going to say about you?
I do something for you.
Yeah.
I am telling you that the
Must go Ministry of Labour.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. Me one.
Take
and
it.
Bakramasa come sit down there and say, about way. You.
Take it easy, no, man.
Oh.
I am saying
God.
that the minimum wage that I am talking about that should be a manufacturing or commercial one and a domestic one.
That's what,
because one national minimum wage is being used as the basis on which workers are paid. Maybe in the BOP, I'm not sure. I'm going to check that out today to find out what type of wage they pay. Are they hourly or however? But don't leave out this. The discipline in many of these areas is what is causing the problem. Some of the workers are not disciplined, not trained, right? And give you a problem.
Yeah.
And bad for many of the workers who are in there.
I'm sure that's true, but I would hate that to be used once again in the history of this nation to excuse or to make us complacent about the status quo. Because, again, the history, that is what we've always been doing. Queen Victoria did it, Remember when Queen Victoria, after 1865, yes? When the workers were complaining about the impossible taxation, the impossibility of owning land, the breakdown of the ability to sell their produce, yes? And what did she write? Was it the Underhill letter it was called? She was quite sure that the people of Jamaica would find prosperity by their industrious activity and by following government.
And they did.
And they did. And they did. And they did. They went to their fathers on the gallows at Morant Bay.
Yeah, but that's a
and it's the same damn thing, the same thing that we are saying to the majority of our people.
Before you get away
from
God.
Me.
That's before you get away. let me take the last liquor for you.
Take it.
The BPO, I am not sure what are the terms and conditions of employment.
Yeah.
I would like to know
that.
What a
life.
Well, no, man.
A big trade unionists don't know that.
Ronnie,
because they're not in there. You're absent.
I don't know.
Yes.
And if I come and tell you I know,
yes,
I'll be lying.
No, that's cool.
But I'm telling you that I'm going to find out.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to see whether or not we can know what are the work, what do they do,
right?
What pay they get for it,
and
what pay does the management get for it, because it's a calling thing, like, right? Understand? But I don't believe that the national minimum wage for the domestic workers and everybody should be what is used in the big industries. Right? And that's why I say we should have two separate minimum wage.
Okay, I'll accept that. We're being told to wrap up. Thank you so much for a spirited discussion this morning.
No, it's not spirited. The man told me last week. I club you down this morning.
And I take some big lick myself, and that's the beauty of our discussion.
No,
coming from divergent points of view. Nonetheless.
Just quickly before I go. There is need to try to keep the industries alive.
Sure.
And there's need to do something for the workers that they are happy and can produce.
Yes.
When a worker is not happy, not being properly paid, his production is low.
Yes.
When you try your best and work with them, that management and labor can work together, production is high.
And that's it for the early rise on the Bridge 99 FM. Stay tuned for more. Thanks so much to all of those who make this program possible. Reaching out to the diaspora, reaching out to Jamaica, a new vision of equity, of justice, and of peace and prosperity in Jamaica. Till tomorrow.